I believe I tried contacting her around November 15th.
Okay. So maybe a little over a week later?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And were you able to reach her?
No.
Did you keep trying?
Yes.
And around maybe the middle of November, did you actually reach the defendant, Bo Pete Jeffrey? Did he answer the phone?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ask him where your mom was?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
That my mom had ran off, and he has not seen her.
Did he tell you when she ran off?
The next morning after her birthday, November 6th.
November 6th. Did he seem concerned at all?
No.
Had you recently purchased a plane ticket for your mom to come to Oklahoma to visit you?
Yes.
Did you mail your mom those tickets?
Yes.
When was she supposed to come and visit you?
November 20th.
Did you ever talk to the defendant about those plane tickets to see if your mom got those?
Yes.
What did he say?
I don't remember.
Now, did your mom ever use those plane tickets?
No.
So she didn't come on the 20th. Did your mom miss some other important events in the next few weeks in November?
Yes.
What did she miss?
Thanksgiving.
Was your birthday also in November?
Yes, ma'am.
When is it in November?
November 25th.
And you didn't get to talk to her on that day either?
No, ma'am.
And did he tell you any more information that he had told you than she just left on the 6th?
He said that she had taken some money and disappeared.
Now, did your mom have a problem on and off with illegal drugs?
Yes, ma'am.
And had she gone missing before in the past?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
No more than maybe 2-3 days. But in that time frame, you'd hear from her.
So had she ever gone missing for weeks, like this time with no call?
No, ma'am.
Did you attempt to locate your mom yourself by making calls to different places?
Yes.
Okay, where did you call?
I called the jails. I called hospitals, family members, and there's just
You couldn't find
couldn't
her?
find her.
Now, when you first moved in with them, how was the relationship between your mom and the defendant, Bo Pete Jeffrey?
It seemed like it was good. She was happy with them.
Okay. And then at some point, did that relationship change?
Yes.
Okay. How so?
After he started drinking,
All right. What happened after he started drinking?
he got more abusive to her.
Abusive?
Yeah.
All right. So he wasn't drinking during the beginning of the relationship when you lived with them?
No.
All right. Now, when you say he got abusive with her, what sort of things would he do to her?
He would just hit her, push her,
Where did he hit her?
mainly on her arms
Okay.
or her legs.
Did your mom have bruises sometimes after he would hit her?
Yes.
And did you say how often this physical abuse would happen?
Maybe like once every 2 weeks.
And what sort of things would cause the hitting, the physical abuse?
If something wasn't cleaned right or cooked right, stuff like that.
Now, did the defendant wear some sort of jewelry on his hands?
Yes.
What was that?
He wore rings on all of his fingers.
Did you ever see any marks from any of those rings on your mom after he hit her?
Yeah.
Okay, can you describe what ring he had that you saw a mark on your mom?
It was a horseshoe ring,
Okay.
and it was onto her arm.
And did it actually leave a mark, a horseshoe ring mark?
Yeah, you could see it onto her.
All right. And did he ever hit your mom, you talked about in the arms, in the face?
I've never seen her in the face, but
All right, so just mainly the arms?
mainly the arms and her legs.
All right. And would this ever happen when you guys were driving in the car?
Yes.
All right. And what would happen in the car sometimes?
He would just reach over and just hit her.
Did your mom ever call the police?
No.
Did she ever leave him for a long period of time?
No.
Incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. But the reality of what was happening and what the life was like and the loss for these two young women to lose your mom that way, it's a double gut punch, right? But one, she goes missing, and she's murdered in this horrific way, and now there's a murder trial, you're a witness and all this. Tough, but powerful, powerful. And how about the picture of Bo Peep that we're getting here? It's like cliche wife beater, right? At a central casting. He's drinking. Oh, the camper's not clean. Oh, the dinner wasn't cooked just right, so I'm going to hit you? Come on. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent joining us from Ocala, Florida. Julia Janae is with us. Julia, that was incredibly vivid testimony. I mean, these two young women, you understand the loss, number one, but number two, painting a picture there, we heard, of what this defendant was like and how he was treating their mom.
Absolutely. Paris Riley, just thinking about her being 18 now on the stand, having to testify, but she was only 13 when she first started witnessing this violence in the home. I mean, it was something that was just tragic to hear, even though we knew that there were going to be these incidents that people would take to the stand and talk about with the domestic violence. But thinking about a young girl having to witness her mother being put in chokeholds and being punched, and her mother feeling like she was being threatened, and hearing those threats on her mother's life from the defendant. It's something that this prosecution brought in early to let these jurors know who they are dealing with and how this relates to what happened on when these investigators discovered the body of the victim on December 3rd of 2018.
Julia, I wanted to ask you about Bo Peep's girlfriend. Not the victim in this case, his ex-wife, but his girlfriend, Patience Burton. What's going to be her role in this case, and has she shown up at the courthouse yet?
She has shown up at the courthouse. She has been here both for jury selection and today for the trial. She is sitting right behind the defendant. Off to the right, you see her sitting next to another person who is there for the defendant but would not give Court TV her name or anything identifying how she is related to the victim. But Patience Burton, we know well. These jurors also know her name because they keep hearing it come up through these witnesses that are taking the stand. But I don't know that they are making the connection that she is the one who is sitting there behind the defendant. She's the one who let police into his camper on December 3rd when they were trying to figure out what happened to Lisa Jeffrey. Her daughters are wondering where she is. Her aunt is filing this missing persons report, and the defendant is saying he doesn't know where she is and she's run off. But Patience Burton had a key and was dating the defendant, and she let them into that camper. But today we heard through a recording of the defendant, through testimony of a detective who interviewed him before the body was found, before police really knew what was going on, before they got into the camper. They asked him about his new live-in girlfriend because that's something that was making family members uncomfortable about what was going on if someone else was now living in the home with him. Take a listen.
What's the story with this woman by the name of Patience?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Well, she's my long cousin, long distance cousin.
Okay.
She lives in a campground underneath the interstate called Travel.
Okay. Let's talk about her a little bit. So, my understanding is that you guys are in some kind of a relationship?
Oh, yeah, I've known her all my life.
Okay.
My mom and Joyce. They know me all mine.
Has she been staying with you?
Right now.
She was staying with you in the past?
Vinny, I actually want to clarify that is video of an interrogation after police discovered the body of Lisa Jeffrey, but before they let the defendant know that. So they had him there in the police station. They were asking him again about Patience Burton. He's saying that she's his long-distance cousin. Not sure if that relates to where she lives or how far removed she is from him familially, but he maintained that there was no relationship initially when police talked to him, but we know later in this case that he confirmed that he was dating her. Don't know if she is both cousin and girlfriend or if he just made up the cousin thing initially to throw investigators off.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, Julie Janae, stand by. Let's bring in our think tank. We got some things to go through here tonight. Joining us in Seattle, Washington, trial attorney Ann Bremner, in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor and law professor at Texas Southern University, Michael Sterling is with us, and in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Great to see everyone. All right, here's my question. Ann, which is the most devastating thing that we just saw here? Was it the fact of this vivid picture of this man being a wife beater, the cliche wife beater, the fact that he's lying about his girlfriend, his live-in girlfriend, or that his legs are shaking like this during the interrogation?
Well, it's all of the above, Vinny, but I noticed that too. I'm like, look at his legs. I mean, just the whole time they're like this, and he can't stop himself. And that's not even to mention the way that he disposed of the body with, saran wrap and duct tape, and you've got, maggots and flies and everything else. I mean, it's disgusting from A to Z. Michael
Sterling, they're in bad shape here on day one in this case.
Vinny, I always tell everybody juries are completely and totally unpredictable. So the most important thing is what the jury thinks is the most important thing. And you never know what they're going to observe or look at. I've seen jurors look at something that I completely and totally missed, that I didn't think about. So jurors are unpredictable. So you really, really never know what they're going to look at. So, the most important thing is going to be what is most important to the jurors. The leg shaking, is it, the daughter testifying and saying, all of these horrible things, despite the fact there is no police reports, there's no offense, conduct. The question becomes, what does the jury think is the most important thing?
All right, Al, his legs were shaking more than Billy White Shoes Johnson after a touchdown in the end zone back in the day.
Right. Correct. But you know what? The only thing the jury has to hear to get a conviction of this guy is Bo Pete Jeffrey. That name right there says serial killer. Right there. I just go, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, yes. Bo Pete Jeffrey. Yep. I'd sit down and they'd convict right there.
Julie Janae, let me ask you about something else involving Bo Pete. Is it true that he tried to pay someone to take the rap for him on this whole thing?
That is what we discovered in a state filing about the defendant's statements that he made. And it alleges that back in 2019, so that would have been the year after he was arrested and he was in jail, that he was trying to get an agreement with this inmate named Christopher Lee Smith, where he was going to pay him $1,000 a week if he would take the rap for the death of Lisa Jeffrey. And if that inmate took the rap, he said, look, I have diabetes. I will be expiring soon. I will put in my will that I am the one who actually killed my ex-wife. So you will also be off the hook and you'll be this rich man because you will have all of this money that I paid you in exchange for trying to get off. Now, the reason that story isn't coming in because, of course, once the state got a hold of it and the defense argued about its validity, we know Bo Pete Jeffrey tried to tell the judge that more needs to be looked into this inmate, that he has a written confession and that should be getting him off, but it is not coming in front of this jury. There was an agreement for a motion in limine unless one of these parties chooses to call that inmate. That is the only way that would come in.
Yeah, I don't know where he's getting the $1,000 either on all of that. All right, trial will continue, ladies and gentlemen. When we come